Hi everyone, this is the next video continuing off of the video lecture that I posted a few days ago. This is going to go over the homework assignment and the submission that you will need to make on Blackboard for this homework that's due November 16th of 2020. So this homework is called XREFs and blocks, and it's going to be a multi-step assignment. So first you're going to set up your AutoCAD file, follow the steps in order to create a floor plan with multiple blocks in it, and then you're going to submit it to Blackboard. So the first thing you want to do is set up your file. So you're going to open up AutoCAD, start a new ACAD drawing, and then make sure you save this drawing with the title of your own first name, underscore, last name, underscore, and then XREF floor plan. So make sure you label this, save this drawing as this with this title, and once you save the drawing, then you can go in and change your units. Make sure your units are in architectural with a precision of 1/4 of an inch, and then make sure that the insertion scale is in inches. So then once you have all that done, you want to go ahead and make your layers. So you're going to have these different layers here. Your walls are going to be red with this line weight of 0.020, and everything's going to be continuous. And then all the other layers here, your doors, windows, blocks, hatches, text, and dim, where you're going to put your dimensions, these are all going to be default with the line weight. And then you could just change the colors according to this for each one. And then the line type, like I said, is continuous. So then on this sheet, I say to refer to the video lecture, which is this one, and I'll show you how to draw your floor plan and any associated blocks that we're going to need, so like doors and windows. And then I'll also upload the final example PDF of what you're going to need to dimension off, so you can just follow that example PDF that I'll upload to Blackboard, and then it'll show you what text you'll need to add on the floor plan itself. So then once you finish that entire floor plan, I'm going to show you how to XREF it into a different AutoCAD file, a new one. So make sure that you label the first one with your floor plan with this name and title, and then this new drawing that you're going to make is going to be your first name, last name, and then drawing number 1. And so then you'll have to XREF this initial floor plan drawing into this new drawing that you created. And so basically your submission is going to be a black and white PDF of the floor plan that you create. So you're going to export it as a black and white PDF, but then you're also going to submit a screenshot. So you just take your snipping tool on your computer or print screen, and you're going to attach a screenshot of one of your door blocks. You're going to highlight it in AutoCAD, and you're just going to take a little screenshot of it so I can see that you made a block, and then also a screenshot of your XREF window in the other new drawing. So this drawing 1. You're going to take a screenshot of your external reference window, and that's going to allow me to see that you correctly attached the original floor plan into this new drawing. So those are the 3 submission things that you'll need to upload to Blackboard. The first one is the PDF, and then the other one are screenshots or print screens of the blocks and your XREF window. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the first part. You guys can set up your AutoCAD file the way on your own time, the way that it says it here. And I'm just going to jump into making the actual floor plan itself. So I'm going to open up AutoCAD. I already changed my units to architectural with a precision of 1/4 of an inch. So now I'm just going to start drawing my actual floor plan. So we're going to start off by creating the overall floor plan shape, which is going to be a rectangle. So you can use the rectangle tool up here, or if you want to manually draw your rectangle using the polyline tool, you can do that as well. But I'll just start off with the rectangle. And what you're going to do is you can click anywhere, and we're going to make this rectangle 50 feet by 31 feet. So in order to do that, you click down first, and then you're going to type in at 50 and then the feet sign, which is a little apostrophe on your keyboard. It's right next to the enter. So just make sure you do feet, or if you type in just 50, it's going to make it 50 inches. So just make sure it's 50 with then the little apostrophe, and then you're going to tab to lock that 50 in, and then you're going to type in 31 feet, and then enter. So then now, if you go to measure it, it should be 50 feet across and 30 feet or 31 feet down. So like I said before, if you're going to draw a rectangle and you don't put the little apostrophe for the feet, it's going to just do it in inches. So just make sure you do the apostrophe. In order to do inches, you're going to use the quotation marks above that by holding down Shift and using the quotation marks above the apostrophe key on your keyboard. So now that we have our 50 by 31 foot rectangle, our base of our floor plan, we're going to start drawing in the walls that are going to separate the different rooms. So what we're going to do is select your line tool, and then let's just double check our object settings. You want to make sure that you have the extension, this one here, checked off, because that's going to allow us to draw along a certain line and just extend off of it. You don't have to have center checked, but you can just leave them on just in case. But you definitely need endpoint, midpoint, intersection, extension, insertion, and perpendicular. Those are the ones that you definitely need. So just make sure that you have those checked. And then the extension, what it does, if I hover over this endpoint and I just go upwards, you can see that dashed green line. That's making it an extension for your line. So we're going to draw a line up this way in this direction. We're going to draw it at 15 feet. So you're going to hover over the endpoint, go upwards, and type in 15. And remember feet with the little apostrophe down in your keyboard by the enter symbol. So once you have 15 apostrophe, you click enter, and that's going to take you on the 15 mark on this whole line. And then what we're going to do is go over this way, and that's going to be our starting point where we just ended off in the 15, and we're going to go over this way 12 feet. So you're going to type in 12 feet, enter. So once you have those two, or this line correct, you're going to make sure that it is in 15 high and 12 in this direction. Now what we're going to do is just use another line and connect it down to the bottom. So you should have this little rectangle here in the corner. So we're going to do the line again, and we're going to start off from here and go in this direction. So you're just going to track it this way, and you're going to go 6 feet. So you're going to type in 6 with the feet. And then it ends it there. And what we're going to do now is go over again in this direction, but go another 10 feet. And so that should have made another line that's 10 feet. And then now we're just going to continue it and end it here at the corner or at the end of the rectangle. But just make sure that you hit it here in the perpendicular over here in this intersection and not in this triangle which represents the midpoint of the rectangle. Just make sure it's perpendicular over here and not up a little further to the midpoint. So then now you should have this line that's 15, a line that's 6, a line that's 10, and then the remainder of the rectangle. So now we're just going to complete the boundaries of the floor plan and all the rooms. So we're just going to use those endpoints from those lines that we created from the 6 foot, and we're going to go up and connect it here. Press enter to get out of it, and then do the line tool again and go to the endpoint of the 10 foot line that we made and go upwards as well and connect it there, and then enter. And so now we have the basics of the floor plan with different rooms, separated. And then we're going to go into giving the wall some thicknesses, and then you're going to label and dimension it. But for right now, if you want to pause the video, you can pause it now and just make sure that your floor plan looks like this with the correct dimensions. Okay, so now you should have your outline of your floor plan ready, and what we're going to do now is just give the walls more thicknesses to represent the actual wall package and not just a single line. So we're going to offset the outer rectangle of our floor plan at 10 inches. So you're going to type in offset, or remember you can also use this command up here, the offset icon in your ribbon. But you can type in offset, and then we're going to offset this distance using 10 inches. So you're going to type in 10, and you're going to put in the quotation marks. So you do that by holding down Shift and holding down on that apostrophe or quotation mark keyboard or key on your keypad next to the Enter. So it's going to look like these two little dashes, and that usually represents inches. So we're going to do 10 inches and then click Enter. And so remember, you can choose the direction you want it to offset in. We're just going to choose the outside. So now we have the perimeter wall at a 10-inch distance for this main wall out here. And now we're going to offset these inner walls 6 inches because interior walls are usually thinner than the actual outer walls here. So we're going to do the offset command again, and this time our distance is going to be 6 inches. So you're going to type in 6 with the inches. Click Enter, and now we're just going to offset these walls. Offset these ones here, these horizontal ones, upwards. So you're just going to click, select, and make sure you're doing it upwards. And then you're going to do this one to the right, this wall also to your right, and then this one we're going to do it to the left. So then now we have this, the walls with a little bit more thickness. And so what we're going to do now is just separate this little room into 2 smaller rooms. And to do that, what we're going to do is just offset this outer line upwards by 10 feet. So we're going to type in offset, and we're going to do 10 feet. So change it from the 6 inches to 10 with the apostrophe for feet. Enter. You're going to select the line, and you're going to offset it up. Okay, and then we're going to offset this line. You don't have to get out of the offset command. We're just going to offset this line 6 inches up to give it another distance. So right now it's going to give you the 10 feet. What you're going to just do is change it to 6 inches again, and it'll offset it upwards to 6 inches. So you can pause the video now and go back if you want. If you got lost, just make sure that it looks like this with the correct offset distances of 10 inches for the outer wall and 6 inches for the inner wall, with this horizontal line being offset upwards in all these segments. This wall being offset this way in the right direction, 6 inches, this wall right, and this wall left, and then this one up. Okay, so now that we have the walls with the thicknesses, what we're going to do is just clean up the drawing a little bit. You see how when the walls intersect, they're like overlapping. So we're just going to clean it up and trim it using the trim command. You can type it in or use the trim icon up here. So you just select it, and now we're just going to go in here and select your objects that you want to trim, and then trim it there. Okay, you're going to do that for all of these. What you can do is select, if you get out of the trim command, you can select all of this and then type in the trim, and now you can go in, everything's highlighted, and just trim out these little areas here. Okay, so now you have everything trimmed. You can hit escape, and everything now is like a wall, and it's all joined. So if you make a hatch now, you can have the hatch be with inside this whole wall instead of being divided by the intersecting lines. So now what you want to do is just change all of this that you made into your correct layers that you made. So I have mine already made here. What we're going to do is just select all of this and just change it to your walls layer. And it should be in red. So then now what we're going to do to the floor plan is add doors and windows. So those are going to be blocks, so that way we don't have to copy the door lines and the curves all as one. We could just make it into a block and it'll be easier to copy around, rotate, and do all those commands to it. So what you want to do first is just go into your door command, so that way we're drawing it within the door layer. So once you're on your door layer, we're going to start off by making the overall width of the actual door itself. So you can go into your rectangle tool. If you want to use your polyline, you can as well. But I'll be using the rectangle tool. Click anywhere, and we're going to basically make the door, looking at it in top view, with the thickness and the overall length of the door. So we're going to type in @ and then we're going to type in the 3 inches because that is the overall thickness of a door. So 3 inches, make sure that you are using the correct inches and not feet. And then you hit tab. And now we're going to do 3 feet because that's going to be the overall length of the door or the opening of the door. So @ 3 inches, comma or tab, and then 3 feet. And hit enter. And so now this is the overall thickness of the door and the length. So the next thing we're going to do is create the little hinges, or where it's going to be placed within the wall. So what we're going to do is select the rectangle tool again, click anywhere, and we're going to create these little endpoints for the doors. So we're going to do the same process at 3 inches, tab by 6 inches. Hit enter. And it's going to make this little rectangle here. And what you're going to do is just select it, type in move, grab the top left corner as the end point or the base point, and we're just going to move it to this corner of the door. So the next thing we're going to do is create the swing of the door. So for that, we're going to use the arc icon up here, but hit the down arrow, and we're going to use the center, start, and end angle. So what we're going to do is start here, because this is basically the center of our door swing, and then we're going to do the start up here, and then the end point is going to be right here. If it doesn't go like this, that means you're in ortho, or you're not in ortho mode, and it's going to give you like this little thing. So just go in ortho mode. It's going to be easier to line it up with this line here, and just click out of it. So that's our door swing. And now what you're going to do is just select this little rectangle here, copy it over, like so. So then that's the overall shape of our door that we're going to create into a block. So then with this door, what we're going to do is just create another set of doors, so like a double door instead of having one single one. So what you're going to do is just select this single door, type in copy, and you can just drag it over and make a copy of it here. So now what we want to do, in order to create a double door, we're just going to mirror this single door along itself. So we're going to select it, type in mirror, and we're just going to mirror it along this line here. Click up, and you're not going to erase the source object. You're just going to leave it at no. If it's at the default of yes, then just make sure it's no. That way you could keep this door and this door here, and it creates a double door. But now what you want to do is just erase these two little endpoints because it's not needed anymore. The doors are going to meet in the middle and close on itself, and it doesn't need this part over here. So then now you should have your door and your double doors as well. And what we're going to do now is create some windows. So what you're going to do is create a window by going to the rectangle tool, and we're just going to click anywhere. And what we're going to type in is at 5 feet. That's going to be the length of the overall window. And then 6 inches, 5 feet, tab, then 6 inches for the actual thickness of the window. And then hit enter. So there's our window. And just make sure we should actually put that on your Windows layer. So just make sure you have it on the windows layer and double check that you actually go into your windows, or else you'll stay on the door layer. So now that you have that rectangle there, what you want to do is explode it so that now the lines are all separate. And we're going to just offset these two lines inwards to give the window some thickness. So you're going to offset by 1 inch, and you're going to offset it inwards. And the same thing with this one. And what I want you guys to do next is offset this line over here. You're going to offset it 2 inches to give it like a little trim. And you're going to offset this one inwards as well, 2 inches. And then what I want you guys to do is just copy this one line. So you're going to select it, type in copy, and just move it or copy it to the midpoint of this overall line. And that's going to be kind of like the mullion dividing these panes of glasses. So then once you have this as the overall shape, what you're going to do is just select all of it and do the trim, again, just to clean it up. So select, type in trim, and just trim out these lines here, and then these lines over here. Once you have those, you can hit escape, and that's our window that we're going to create into a block. So just make sure you have these here. I'm just going to move it over so you can see it. So just make sure you have your single door, your double door, and your window here. If you want to create another window with a different size, you can do that as well. I'm just going to create another one at 3 feet 6 inches. So that can be a smaller door, smaller window. You explode it, offset these 1 inch down or inwards of the window, and then these are going to be 2 inches to create like the actual trim of the window. Oops. And once you have that, you can trim it. This one doesn't really need a mullion in between because it's a small enough window. And so you should have now these double doors, single door, a 6-foot window, and a 3-foot window. So you can pause the video here and just make sure you have these so that then we can make them into blocks and put them into the floor plan. Okay, so now that we have the doors and the windows, what we're going to do is just create a block for each of them. So I'm just going to move these and separate them so it's easier to select. Okay, so in order to create the blocks, I went over this in the last video. So you just go up here to create, and then the block definition window is going to pop up, and what we're going to do is just name the first one. We're going to start off with this single door. So what you're going to do is just type in single door, and then we're going to pick the point. So what you can do is uncheck the specify on screen, so that way we can pick it now. You can pick your point. That's going to be the base point of your block and where you can actually grab the block from and move it, or where all the commands are going to be based off of, so your base point. So let's make it this bottom right hand corner of this rectangle. So now that we have our base point picked, we're going to select the actual objects that we want the blocks to be. So you're going to go here and make sure you uncheck this so that you can actually select the objects, and now just hover over everything. So click and select. So click, drag your mouse, and then end click. And so we selected all the objects. You can press enter. And so now you can see the little preview of the door up here, and that's basically our block for the single door. So you click OK, and then now if you hover over it, we can see that all of it highlights, and then our base point is over here where we can move everything and where all the commands will be based off of this one base point. So we're going to repeat the process for all of these windows and doors. So you're just going to create. We're going to name this the double door. You're going to pick your point. You could pick this one as well. And then we're going to select our objects. Once you've done select, then you press enter. and then you can press OK. And so now we have our double door. And then you're going to repeat the same process for these windows. You're going to name it window 1 will be the smaller one, then we'll do window 2 as the larger one. Okay, so now that we have all of these as windows and blocks, what we should do is maybe make an exterior window, so we need to increase the thickness of one of these. So we can make another window by going to the rectangle and just making that same, repeating those same steps. So click anywhere. We're going to do, let's say, 5 feet, or 5 feet. Oh, make sure you type in at first. 5 feet, tab. And then we're going to do 10 inches because that was the actual dimension of the exterior window was 10 inches. So just make sure it's at 5 feet, then 10 inches. Click enter. And now it's a little bit thicker than the other ones. So what we're going to do now is explode it and basically repeat the same process of offsetting it an inch inwards. And then 2 inches from the sides. And we're just going to copy this one line to the midpoint. And then select everything, type in trim, and you can just go in and trim the excess lines. And then now you're going to just create a block. You can name this window 3. And so now we have our exterior windows, some interior windows, and our doors. So you can pause the video now and catch up if you need to make any adjustments here to your blocks. Just make sure you have these 3 different windows and these 2 different doors. So once you have all your blocks made from your windows and your doors, we're just going to start placing them onto our floor plan on the right, just to create different rooms and use the doors to create the different entrances for the different rooms. So let's start off by using the double door. So what we're going to do is just move that. You can use it as the base point, and we're going to move it along this wall over here. No specific distance, just put it wherever you want to put it. You can put it here, or if you want to move it a little bit over, you can as well. I'm going to leave up the actual location of the doors up to you guys. Just make sure that they are placed within the walls here. And the interior walls, let's just copy this one. And what we can do is mirror it as well. So that way you have different directions. You can have the doors opening a certain way. So let's move this one over here. Oops. So that's going to be the opening for this room. I'm going to use this door for over here. Just make sure that your doors are not right up against the wall like this. Give it some inches. What you can do is give it maybe 6 inches off of the wall, or if you want it dead smack in the center, you can have it here. But typically doors are about 6 inches off the walls here, just for swing purposes and just so that there's a better flow for the room. And so just make sure every room has a door. So I'm going to copy this one, keep it right here. And then we're going to use this door over here. What we can do is move it more over here. Oops. And we're going to rotate it because this door or this room is going in this direction, so we have to rotate the door in order for it to swing into the room. So you're going to select it, rotate, you're going to specify the base point, and just make sure it rotates inwards. Or if you want it outwards, you can have it as well, but I'll do inwards and then just move it over about 6 inches. So then what you can do is just add a little, another door here. So let's just copy this one. Move it over 6 inches. And so now just make sure all your rooms have the doors. If you want them flipped the other way, you can make that as well. Just make sure that they are at least 6 inches off of the walls that you place them on. And then what we're going to do next is just place your windows along all the rooms. So make sure you use the window number 3, the one that's 10 inches wide for the exterior walls. So we can just select it, copy it, and we can place them along the walls here. If you want it a little bit over, you can move it as well. If you want every room to have a window, you can do that and place it along this wall. And if you want it to be the other direction, you just have to rotate it similar to the door. Pick the one base point and just rotate it in the direction it needs to go in, up or down. Then you're going to move it. And place it along the exterior walls. So now you can just select it and copy it to wherever you want it to go. I'm just going to copy it here. And do the same thing for the other side. Just going to select both of them and go straight across from here to here. And I'm just going to put one window on the front. Okay, so once you have the windows on the exterior walls, you can put in some windows on the interior based off the ones with the varying lengths. I'm going to start off with the larger window, window number 2. So I'm just going to move it based off the base point and just move it over here. That can be an interior wall. If this was an office, you can have it like have a window here. Imagine this would be a waiting room, and this could be like an actual receptionist's office, and it has a little walk-up window. You can use your imaginations for that. And then I'll use the one little interior window for this wall over here. So what I'm just going to do is rotate it and then move it to that wall. And so now we have interior windows, exterior windows, the doors. So just make sure you have something similar to this. If you want less windows, you can delete some. Just make sure at least each room has at least one window, except for like interior windows, you can have the minimum of 2. Don't overcrowd it, but just make sure that it looks like a floor plan of a building. And then what we're going to do next is I'll show you guys the example of what dimensions you'll need to do and the text. So before getting into more detail for the floor plan, I just want to clarify that for the homework assignment submission down here, you're going to do the black and white PDF for the floor plan that we created. So let me just you're going to make a rectangle around this one. and then you're going to just offset it about, let's say, 5 feet. So 5 and then the feet, like that. And so delete this inner one, and that's going to give it a little border around your plan, and this is going to be the border that you're going to use to export, like the window. You're going to use this as the window. So let's just move that to the 0 layer. And so when you export it, you're just going to use this as the window, and then the floor plan should be in black and white according to the submission. And then what you're also going to need is a screenshot of your door blocks. So what you can do is just select either one door block and one window, or a few of them if you want to, and just take a screenshot using your snipping tool on your computer or your print screen. On Windows, I know there's a snipping tool, it looks like this. And you can just use it, create a new snipping tool, and just do that. And then this can be your submission. You just save it to your desktop or to your documents, wherever you have your folders. This is the main reason I just want to see that you created blocks. So that's one of the submissions that you're going to need to do in the PDF. And then we'll get to the screenshot of your XREF in a bit. So for now, right now, at this point, you should have your blocks made, your floor plan already. But before we add more details, we want to delete these walls in between the doors, because that doesn't make sense in a floor plan where you're just walking into a wall and there's no opening. So what you're going to do is type in trim. You can hit enter, and then basically just highlight these walls here, like so, and that's going to create the little opening for the doors. And you can even go in here and delete those. Okay, so once you have that, you can hit escape, and you should have the openings for your doors, your windows, and things like that. So now what we want to do is maybe add some furniture inside all of these rooms, and what we can do is type in AD center, type enter, and it's going to bring up this design center window. And basically you should have this as your default. If this is not on your default, you can click the little home button over here, and it's going to bring you to this window that I have right here. And so you should have a database if you go to the ENUS and then go to Design Center. It's going to show you a bunch of different blocks that you can insert into your drawing. It's loaded within AutoCAD. And then what you want to go to is House Designer. And so double click on that. Then go to Blocks. And then over here shows you a good amount of different blocks that you're going to need for making furniture. So what we can do is just select the one you want, and you can just drag it onto your model space. So we can do a bathtub. Just make sure that it is in top view, because this is a floor plan and it's not an elevation or a section. You're going to want to choose the ones that have top views. So this one for the toilet. You don't want to select the ones on the front or sides, because it's not going to be correct in terms of the view. So right now, let's just use those two for this one, and we're going to add some more. What you can do is go to Home Space Planner right here on the side. That's going to bring you to this window again, and you press Blocks. And now you can add other furniture like a bed, chair, anything. Like if you want to make an office, you can do a copy machine, sofas. So let's just drag in a bed. So you click and drag and click. Notice they have a certain or different amounts of different types of blocks, and you can see the preview down here at the bottom. Here's a table, a wooden table, a square table, a desk. So I'll just include a small desk. You can select whatever you want. You can make this your own kind of drawing. Just make sure you use a bunch of different blocks to give the floor plan more meaning to what it is. Here's a dining set. I'll just choose that. plants. There's entertainment center. And so you can play around with these and actually add plants if you would like to in certain rooms. So you can just click and drag. But I'll X out of that, and you can see that they are in blue because we were in our Windows layer. So just make sure that all your blocks that you add go into your blocks layer, so the cyan blocks. So you select them and then just make sure they're on the cyan. So once you have all your blocks over here selected, you can go back to that screen if you X out of it by pressing Add Center, and it's going to bring up the last window that you were on. So if you were in House Designer, it would be in that one, but right now we're in the Home Space Planner drawing. And if you ever want to get back to that home screen that I showed you, would go to this one, this little house, would go to the home. Then to work your way back, you go to ES US or ENUS and then Design Center, and then it brings out all of these here. You won't need any of these because they're more like details for drawings like HVAC and stuff, but there's some kitchen stuff over here, so you can hit kitchens, blocks, and then here's a top view of an oven range, so you can include that, a refrigerator, and stuff like that. But just make sure that it's in top view and not in the side view like the microwave or a light switch, because you wouldn't see that in the top view. So select all your blocks that you want to include and just drag them on here, and then we can move them into the rooms. So once you have all your blocks selected, you can get out of that window there, and you can just start moving your furniture to wherever you want to place it. I'll just place it in this room. That could be the bedroom. In this case, or this example, it can be the bedroom, but maybe because I put that window there, I'll just move it to this room over here. This can be the actual bedroom. There's no set distances of where you can put your furniture. I'll let you guys determine what furniture you want where. That way it's a little bit more creative on your part, and then you can add as many blocks as you want. Just make sure you don't overcrowd it because we're going to add some text, so leave some blank space around certain things. So then you just move your objects like this. If you do want to rotate them, you can just select it, type in rotate, or use your commands up here in the ribbon, and then just rotate them according to the way you want them to look. Continue to move them. You can mirror them like using certain distances like that. And if you want to draw some tables and if they don't have any blocks that you don't want to, you can create your own blocks. So I'm just going to create a little table in the middle. I'm going to change that to the blocks layer. Make sure that all your objects are in the correct layer. And so I'm going to pause my video, make the actual rooms here with all the furniture, and then I'll show you guys the next couple of steps. Okay, so I have most of my floor plan populated with some furniture. Like I said before, if you want to add furniture, you can actually draw it yourself using the polylines or the rectangle tools to create any blocks that you don't see in the actual the AD center. So you can make little nightstand tables if you want to. Just add some furniture there. And if you want to create kitchen cabinets, you can do that as well, or countertops. Countertops are usually 2 feet wide, and then you can make them as long as you want, down to the wall if you want to. If you want it to wrap around, just make sure that it is 2 feet wide on both sides, and you can connect them like that, and then trim those lines there. That way it's like one continuous countertop surface. And then I had my blocks here that I inserted from the AD center, and then you can just place them along wherever on the counter. I'm going to check nearest just so that it doesn't keep trying to make me copy it to the endpoint. So I'm going to select it, move, and then I can put it there. There's a double sink that I selected, and you can also move that to the counter. And if you want the fridge in there as well, you can rotate depending on which wall you want to put it on. I'll move it over here. And I'm actually going to move the window over as well. Actually, I'm going to delete that one and copy this window to be over the sink, and then move the fridge there. Okay, so once you have at least some furniture blocks in each one, that's when you're going to move on to the next steps of adding text and dimensions to the rooms. So for the text, I just want you guys to use your text over here. You can use multi-line or single line, whichever you guys prefer to add the text, depending on the room that you make it. So if this one's a kitchen, you can make your box and type in with all caps kitchen, and you can use the standard you can use the standard text style up here. If you want to make your own, you can do that as well. And then you can close out of that. And just make sure you choose the actual height of your text box. So let's make single line texts here. I think that would be easier. Your start point, and then you're going to choose your height. We can choose the height to be 1.5 feet, and then a rotation angle of 0. And so you can start off, and I'm going to write kitchen. Hit enter. Or actually, that might be a little bit too big, so let me do a smaller one. So starting point, the height, let's see, 9 inches. Let's see if that's a little bit better. 9 inches, rotation angle of 0. Kitchen. Yep. So that's a little bit better. So just make sure you use your height as 9 inches. That way, in case you do want to populate it with more furniture, you can add more furniture, and just make sure that your text fits within your furniture and it's not blocked by anything else, and just make sure that it's on the correct layer of text. So I'll write that in your instruction sheet. That way it's clear. 9 inches for your text, and just make sure it's not obstructed by any blocks. So if it's like, if you have a block there, just make sure it's not overlapping in any way. That way it's not going to get cut off when you export it. So then just you can copy your text to all these rooms. Just make sure you have one text for each, and you can change the labels depending on what rooms you have. If this was an office that you made, you can just make sure that it says office. Make sure it just lines up and matches the type of room to your text. And I'll change mine right now, and then I'll show you guys the next couple steps. So once you change all the text that you copied, remember to change it, you can just double click on it, and then change it as you need to. Click out of it and hit escape. So once you have all your text there, what we want to do is add a hatch for your exterior walls and your interior walls, just so that you can see a difference between all of them. So let's go to our hatch layer up here, hatches, and then we're going to create a hatch using the solid option here. Oops. Yep, so you're going to go to your solid up here, make sure that's clicked there, and what we're going to do is select the interiors of the walls. Make sure you get the actual interiors. Don't select out here, because then, as you saw before, I highlighted there, and it's going to actually do that one. So just take your time with it. It's going to maybe lag a little bit depending on your computer graphics card and stuff like that. So just make sure you select all the walls, not the windows. Just go over them like so. Get every single little wall. I'm sorry, it's lagging a little bit just because it's trying to create a hatch. And then once you have all the walls selected, you're going to go up here to close hatch creation, and you should have all your walls with some sort of hatch on it. So that way when it prints, it's going to print out darker so we can see the walls more clearly. So the next thing we want to do is create a dimension style. That way everyone's dimensions are the same, and we're just going to dimension out the floor plan. So like we had before, we would go to Annotate. In our Dimensions tab over here, AutoCAD gives you two standard ones, annotative and standard, but notice how it doesn't give you like the inches convention, and so what we're going to do is just create a new one ourselves. So once you get to this screen, what we're going to do is just name it Dimensions 1. Oops, 1. And we're going to start with the standard. Continue. So then your new dimension style is going to pop up. Let's go to lines and just make sure that all of these are by layer. Right now it's green because we are in the hatch one. So let me just close out of this. And I want to make the dimensions layer my current one. So just make sure your dimensions layer is the current, and then we're going to do the dimension style. We're going to do new. Alright, dimensions 1, standard, and then continue. And so when you go to line, let's just do it by layer for these. Just so that everything is corresponding to the layer. I don't want anything to mess up. For the symbols, I want you guys to change it to architectural tick for both of these. You can leave the leader as it is. For text, just make sure that it is centered. That way it's going to be within the dimension string itself. And you can actually change it by layer as well. Fit, we don't really need to change anything here. What we do need to change is the primary units. Because we are in architectural and we drew everything to the architectural units, we're going to change this as well to architectural, and the precision we're going to leave it at the 1/4 because that's what we started our units as for the drawing. So that's really important. Make sure you change this to architectural and the 1/4. So once you have all that, you can click OK. Close out of this one, and now our dimensions 1 is our current one. So when we make a dimension using the linear tool, you can go from the insides of the rooms, go up. So you'll see here that when you made the dimension string, we didn't change the size of the text. So what you can just do is go back to your dimension styles up here, manage them, go to the one that you created, hit modify, and then we can change the actual text size here. We can actually change it to a text size that can be seen but not too overbearing for the overall drawing. So we made this text over here 9 inches. What we can do is maybe make it a little bit smaller than that. Let's do 7 inches, and then click OK, and then close. And so now it's a little bit bigger here. And then we notice here that it is a little bit smaller with the architectural tip, so let's change that as well. Here what we can do is modify, or actually, yeah, symbols, and then we can change the arrow size a little bit as well. Let's view it in the preview. Let's actually do 3 inches, see how that looks. We can make it a little bit bigger, 5 inches. Okay, so we can leave the arrow size as 5 inches, and then the text 7 inches. Then once you have that, press OK, and you can close out of it. Now our dimension strings have the ticks there, and that's fine. So then now what we're going to do is dimension out the rest of these rooms. So what I want you guys to include when you dimension is go from the inside corners of these rooms and pull upwards and line them up. So the same thing, you're going to go from the inside corners and go up and line it up to the same one here. Do the same thing for the sides. Doesn't matter what distance out there, just make sure that fits within the offset rectangle we did for the window when you export. Just make sure it doesn't go far out here. Make it within that initial white border that you have there. So just make sure you have the correct going inside to inside wall. So here to here, make sure that dimension is correct. And these are the dimensions you're going to need to include on yours as well. Okay. So include those dimensions. I'll take a PDF export of what this looks like so that you guys know which dimensions to dimension out. What I'm going to ask you guys to do is also dimension a few of the insides as well. So you can use this one and dimension it out here. Remember, when you do dimensions, go from the inside corners of the walls, not from the outsides. So for this room, bathroom, you're going to go from the inside corner to the inside and just dimension it out a little bit. It's okay if it goes in between here, as long as the text doesn't get obstructed. Like, don't have it like right there where you won't be able to see it through the hatch. It's fine if it overlaps some of the blocks, but this is basically the overall dimensions you're going to need. I'll take an export PDF of this and I'll upload the example for you guys so you can know which dimensions you need to in case you can't see it here on the video. So you can pause the video and see what this looks like, and then I'll go over how to XREF this drawing into another one. Okay, so once you have these dimensions on there, what I'm actually going to do is delete these dimensions here, so you can create one full dimension going from this one, the outer corners, like that. Once again, I'll post the exact dimensions you're going to need to show on your actual exports. But so for right now, make sure you save your drawing. In the instruction sheet that I have for you guys, I list the actual name convention that you should be using, your first name underscore last name underscore XREF floor plan. So that's what you should have this whole drawing as labeled as in your documents. So now what you're going to do is going to XREF this drawing into another one. So what you're going to do is open up a new ACAD drawing. And just make sure you save this one according to the convention that I give you, your first name, last name, and drawing 1. So I'll save that right now. So once you save it, what you're going to do is XREF the drawing that we just did into this one by doing the commands XREF. And it's going to bring up your external reference window. And what you're going to do is attach the drawing like this, and look, you're going to search for your drawing that you saved, which is the XREF floor plan. You're going to select it, open it, and just make sure that's the correct one. You're going to see the preview there, the attachment, and then what you're going to do is leave the scale as is. Do not change any of the settings. And then the insertion, you're just going to specify on your screen, and then click OK. And so then now you should have your floor plan. If you zoom out, if you don't see it, it's probably because you're like zoomed really in, but you can see it over here. What you're going to do is just press anywhere, zoom out, and you have your floor plan XREF'd in there. So what I want you guys to do is now take a screenshot of this whole screen so that I can see your external reference window as well as your floor plan on the side. So you're going to do the same thing as I did before. You're going to take your snipping tool, or if you have a Mac, I'm not really sure what program Mac has, but you're going to take a screenshot or a print screen of this whole thing. It doesn't have to be super perfect, it can be just this much, but I want to see the external reference as well as your floor plan, final floor plan. So that is the submission, the black and white PDF of your floor plan that you created. So if you go back to your initial drawing over here, you're going to export it or plot it using the window as this area here. And just make sure that it is black and white, change all your settings so that it comes out to a grayscale PDF of that whole floor plan once you put all the dimensions and the blocks in there. And then also take a screenshot of a couple of your blocks. I'm going to change this from one door. I'm going to change that to a couple of them. Just highlight maybe a couple doors and a couple of windows. No walls, just the windows, the doors, just so that I can see that you did multiple blocks, and then take a screenshot of that like I showed you earlier. So make sure that they're highlighted, a couple of them, and then take a screenshot. You can even highlight these, but I'll know that you guys took it from the AD Center. So just highlight a couple blocks, and then that'll be your screenshot submission for that one as well. And then the screenshot of the XREF window and your drawing showing the original floor plan XREF'd into this other drawing. So this one, like I just showed you, is this screenshot. So just make sure you submit all three, double check that you submit them correctly on Blackboard. And if you have any questions, email me. We can set up a WebEx, and it's going to be due on Monday.